Greetings, it is I, Tempest Knight of Dracovin, Lord and Emperor of the Dracovin Empire, and welcome. It is time to continue our discussions on Shadowrun, the 4th edition. I'm going to finish by talking about the general rules for skills and start getting into those combat rules. So let's talk about skills some more. Now I'm going to go into the basics of knowledge skills. I have gone over them again, but when you're talking about knowledge skills, each of the 4 categories of knowledge skills is linked to a separate mental stat, and it will tell you which one is listed to in the book. Now moving on from that, after they sort of talk about some of those basics of the book, which I've already talked a lot about basics of the knowledges, let's talk a little bit more about languages. Now there are 2 main languages in the world, English and Japanese. Japanese culture, of course, is very popular. They've gained a lot of leeway in the world, and English is still a major language. There are, of course, also 2 other new languages that have appeared in the world, Saphirial and Orzat. Saphirial is the language of elves, Orzat is the language of orcs that have shown up since the changing and since the races have come back into the world. Now, of course, in the book it does list sort of modifiers, penalties to the various types of checks you based on your knowledges, and the types of checks you'd make on your knowledges. So the different difficulties for different language and knowledge checks are in the book. Now, of course, there are some attribute-only checks you can do. Each of these is linked to 2 different attributes that you roll together, rather than an attribute and a skill. There's Composure. Composure is basically keeping your cool in very difficult situations and sort of not panicking. Judge intentions is another one. This is sort of your natural empathy, that you can sort of judge someone just by looking at them and sort of size them up. There's also lifting and carrying. This is like when you might need to check to like carry something really large or to like lift something, and you have to do it for a period of time. You might use this sort of check. And of course there's memory. This would be remembering something that, like, let's say your character would have heard something previously and you forgot to write a note down. You could try a memory check that, you know, it's assuming that your character would have written this down somewhere themselves if they're not remembering it like yourself. And in that case, you would make this memory check to be like, what the heck did I hear before? I'm forgetting it. You know, my character's forgetting it. What is it? So let's move on to the basics of combats. The basics of combat is based around combat turns and a combat sequence. In your combat sequence, everybody will roll initiative, and then you will arrange your initiatives. You're going to go from highest to lowest in order of initiative, and you're going to do that every combat turn. Then each character is going to take their turn. They're going to have their action phase, in which they're going to take their general combat turns. You're going to go down the list, and then we're going to do it again if people have more than 1 initiative pass. Initiative pass tells you how many actions you get in a single combat turn. The thing is, you take it in order. It's not rather than you take all those actions at once. As we go down the list, and then we go to a new initiative pass to go down the list again, and a new initiative pass to go down the list again, and do this until people are out of initiative passes. And you can have no more than 4 initiative passes in a turn. So you're not going to get any more than 4 actions. But doing that, you might get, of course, 4 actions. You might go 1, 2, 3, 4. And generally speaking, things that would give you more initiative passes are like cyberware, magic, adept powers. So not everyone's going to have them. But those that do, cyberware, BioWare also, but those that do, they will, of course, take more than 1 initiative pass. And so you might only have 1, but you still could use it just as effectively as someone that would have more than 1, depending on what kind of actions you're doing on your turn. So as I said, when initiative is rolled, it goes from highest to lowest, and on your turn, you're basically going to declare your actions, what you want to do, and then you sort of make any kind of rolls to any kind of checks you need to do in order for those, whatever you're describing, to actually occur. And you're going to see whatever results it is. And that after your turn is done, you move on to the next one, and so forth, and then you go into the next pass, and the next pass, as far as you need it. And each time you're going to do this, you're going to go down the initiative list that way. Now also, as I said, initiative is rolled each turn, so your initiative will change every turn. Now your initiative, the basic score is determined by your intuition plus your reaction. So what you do is you take that score, you roll it, and for every success, or for every hit you get a +1. Then you add all those +1s. So let's say if I had 7 dice, I rolled 7, I got 4 successes, I got 4 hits, then I would add 4 to my 7 to a total of 11 for my initiative. So I'm taking my base score and rolling it and possibly doubling, up to doubling my base score. And that's going to be my initiative that I'm taking every turn. Now, of course, you can have bonuses and penalties, like certain spells and abilities that maybe you activate after the combat has begun could alter your initiative. So the one round, I could take an initiative, and if I had more than 1 initiative passes, I could activate some kind of ability that my next pass, maybe my initiative is a little higher. On the other hand, it might also mean that maybe my next turn is a little higher initiative. Another thing is wound penalties will apply to your initiative checks. So you might only be getting your basic initiative score ever, and the only thing you could subtract is your dice pool might shrink from a lot of wound penalties. Now, an initiative check is one you can use edge on. When using your edge as part of initiative, the main one is to add your dice to the check to see if you get a higher initiative. Another thing you could do is you could force yourself using edge to go first in initiative. You could also give yourself an extra initiative pass. Anytime you're using any kind of an edge in relation to initiative, if you glitch, then you get a -1 to all your rolls for the first pass that you take. If you critical glitch, you are automatically last in the initiative, no matter what you've been trying to do. Now, you are allowed to delay your actions. You keep your same initiative, but you basically are delaying your actions for a turn in order to react to someone else. So that means if I have a higher initiative than that guy over there, but maybe I have more than one initiative pass, and he does not, I can delay myself to see what he does for my first action, and then on my next turn, my initiative would back to where it is, so that maybe the other guy that I'm also fighting, who has more than one initiative passes, I'm back to my normal sort of initiative with him. Now, the last thing I would want to talk about today is timed items. Timed items in initiative is sort of what I'm trying to talk about. Things like grenades. Now, normally when I would throw one, it goes off right before my next initiative, on the next initiative pass. Now, for whatever reason, if some combat ends or things sort of break down for the timing system, then it will be your game master's discretion as to when it will go off. Your timed effect, whether it be something like a spell or grenade or other weapon, that's time-based. So that's all I wanted to talk about today. I finished up talking about skills with knowledge skills, language skills, and a little bit about the attribute-only tests. Then I went over some of the basics of combat, talking about what your combat sequence will be, and talking about your initiative. If you have any questions, comments, anything you want to say, anything you think I left out, please leave it in the comments below. Please like this video if you enjoyed it. It's a great way of showing your support for the channel and the Empire. Please subscribe if you already haven't. We're always looking for more citizens of the Empire, more members. If you think anybody could learn from this video or would enjoy it themselves, please share it with them. And until the next time, I bid you farewell.